Hello, and welcome to this class on emotional integration. As usual, we start with the contemplation of ourselves as humble and honest. Contemplate simplicity. Contempla simplicidad. Just be peaceful. Today we learn about the attachments and the objects of attachments. So we start class with feeling honest with ourselves. The attitude you discover when you practice Visantara. Personal growth, it's completely normal to not agree with what you freshly discover. It's okay. It's acceptable. Good. Now that most of you are online, let's speak about those attachments. In the masks of integration, three attachments are physical, emotional, and mental. These are the typical attachments. Just in case it's not clear enough, let's give examples. A cigarette seems to be a physical attachment. Probably is. It could be emotional or mental. If someone is addicted to cigarette, the physical attachment is the chemical addiction. The emotional attachment is what it helps you deny. And the mental attachment would be you smoke just because you're used to. You know yourself as a smoker. It becomes part of your identity. So that's an example of how one object could count on the three levels of attachment. To be attached to your television, as much as I am, for example, seems to be a physical attachment. It probably is. But it could be an attachment to what you do with your TV. So, in my case, video games, it's an emotional attachment. It's about compensating for loneliness. And, bringing in entertainment, that's fun. So the attachment, physical, emotional, and mental, is not limited to the plane on which the object is. The television is on the physical plane. I doubt it is active emotionally or mentally. The cigarette is only on the physical plane. But the attachment is not exclusive to the same plane as the object. So when you're looking at your attachments, don't have the reflex to look at the object. Oh, I love my husband or my wife. It's an emotional attachment. Yeah, could be physical, it's a physical person that you like to touch. Could be mental, like if he or she leaves, who will pay the rent with me? So again, even a person is not exclusively an emotional attachment. So to find out what is your type of attachment to any person or object, mental interpretation will not suffice. You need to feel. What is the feeling? To take time to discover the flavor. What is that feeling? It's only the emotional flavor of the attachment will show you at what level it is. Physical attachments are also animal attachments. So it can be on the 10th or the 9th plane for those who study the planes. Yeah, that rounds it up. That's the easiest expose on the attachments. The attachments go hand in hand with the 3 types of objects. There's possessions, usually physical attachments. Yeah, physical possessions. Usually emotional attachments are relationships. And usually mental attachments are identity. But they're not exclusive. So there's the 3 attachments: physical, emotional, and mental. And there are the 3 types of objects of attachment: possessions, relationships, and identities. Okay, I did say identities with an S because we could have more than one. But usually there's one mother identity, which is what we are. It usually is easy to deduct this is a physical attachment to a possession. Usually it feels like it's a mental reflex. But do you consider your husband or your wife a possession? You could be physically attached to a relationship. Do you understand? So the masks, the 3 masks of the ego, are the attachments: physical, emotional, and mental. And the objects of attachments are possessions, relationships, and identities. It is important to take the time to feel what feeling of attachment is. And so the attachment is inside and the object is outside. The possession, relationship, or identity, well, identity is also inside. It's part of us. But it's a composed object. So it's projected. Anyway. So it's just good to discern the difference between the attachment and the object it is attached to. And that mechanics is the whole of the masks of the attachments. It's very intellectual when we learn it, but then we need to feel which one it is. In any integration, it seems to be the least important part to integrate. And I agree. First, you should discern what is the emotion, and if there is a denial, which one. Usually there's a denial, can be very soft, can be strong. Identifying the emotion and the denial in an emotional integration is the most important part. Basically, the first two classes of this series. Then the other masks are useful. If your objective is to release suffering, you only need to deal with the emotions and the denials. If your objective is to get better, then it's good to recognize the tools, the roles, the expectations and the needs, the obsessions, and you'll learn to know yourself more. The attachments is basically to identify what to mourn. That's the final stage of letting go of the weight of your potential. It will often be done in the entire process of integration. But it is a clue to the mourning process. Identifying the attachment is not enough. If you don't mourn, it's still going to be there. A typical comment from many students, but I did the mourning. Yeah. But did you do the good one? Any mourning you do will be good, of course. Any kind of letting go will work. It will bring you the benefit of whatever you let go. It's easy for the ego to feel, I did mourning on a specific topic, therefore my mourning is done. And then we mourn only a physical attachment by letting go of someone, for example, or an object. And we think, I did the mourning part, it's done. And we do a mourning on a level not, in order to deny, basically, not to mourn the deeper thread. Maybe mourning a part of your identity is where you let go of a person. So you can mourn the relationship and the person outside. If you have identified, I'm the husband or the wife of that person. And if you've always been very proud of being part of a couple, then the mourning is also required to be done in your identity. If you have identified so much to being in that role in the relationship. These, of course, are examples of deeper understanding what to mourn. Understanding this technicality at the intellectual level, very important. But your intellectual knowledge about it will not give you enough information during a natural integration. The important part of identifying the attachment, the proper attachment, and the proper object is to know what to mourn. For that potential to lose its power finally and be done with it. It is explained in a complex way, but it gets easy very quickly. Just go feel it. What am I really attached to? What part of me is attached to what? So yeah, let's say my body is physically attached to a person's body. But the body is also attached to the emotional relationship because of the care was emotional. But it's the body that liked the cuddles. No, so the planes are mixed. It's a labyrinth, if you want. It's not a labyrinth. It's just mixed in every way. When we mourn, we have that tendency to mourn one thread, one chain, the most obvious one, and the least important one. Because the ego will find strategies for you to not mourn what he so is attached to. No, I'm attached so much to that. Don't let it one go. Oh, you're going to do integration anyway. Integrate this link. Okay. Like a trick that in our subconscious, we show ourselves. I mean, it's always good to do a mourning, to let go of something. But we have this tendency of intellectually deducting, oh, it should be this kind of mourning. I'm going to sit on it and mourn. It takes time to discern the actual flavor of what part of me is attached to what, in order to do the mourning as deep as possible. Good. So that was the introduction to the class and the hardest part, the intellectual part. Now, if you see me drink water and you think, oh, he's not taking coffee today. No. I already had too much this morning. Nah, just one. I invite you to find one of those attachments that you find hard to let go. And you did probably do personal growth about it. And you did try to let go. But there's still this thing pulling. So let's work on that. You know in your head the mechanics. Let's surpass that. Let's go and feel what is the flavor of that thing I really don't want to let go. For me, it's something that makes me angry. So if anger rises, something inside me is complaining. So that anger is a disappointment. So it's based on greed. Good. There's a greed. If I'm attached, there's a greed. There's something holding to the inevitable thing that is going to be lost anyway. Feel it. What's the flavor? Is there information in your emotional flavor that is different from your mental deduction? Actually, don't even care about that. Just what is the flavor? How does it feel like? And practice being honest, allowing yourself to discover something you did not know yet. Another reflex of the mind, but I already know that it's this thing. The moment the intellect says, but I already know that, you're not giving yourself a chance to discover what is hiding deeper. So in this attachment, you can ask intellectual questions, but discover the answer through its flavor. Okay? So let's ask ourselves things and let the flavors reveal it. Am I proud of being part of something? And that's why I have trouble letting it go. So I might be physically attached to the identity, the role. Is it a pleasure I will never have again? Yeah, life, the jungle of nature. The feeling that we might not have pleasure physically. Is it presence? Where we'd rather feel the pain of the attachment than the actual loneliness if we really let go. Yeah, these are examples I'm giving you to help you find the typical scenarios that make it so hard to mourn correctly, to really mourn. It takes an attitude to be a good loser. We lost. If it was a game, we lost. If it was a battle, we lost. If it was a competition, we lost. And if it was a property, we lost it. Just admit it. We lost. If it was a relationship, we lost it. If it was identity, we should lose it. That one where we're not in a hurry to say we lost. Accepting to lose is difficult on so many levels. The pride, I won't lose. Too late, you did, you lost. It takes courage to say that. I lost. I lost something or someone, or myself, or I lost in whatever other fashion. Just I lost. Mourning. And paying attention to the flavors that are deep. Tell me, my subconscious. Tell me, my subconscious. What is the flavor of that attachment deep? Where I am most scared to admit I lost. Or am I fighting so much to hide the deepest chain, the hardest blocks? With patience, you let your subconscious tell you. It will become conscious when you become aware of it, of course. Flavors rise. you are mourning. At this point, we're not paying attention to the technicalities anymore. We're not trying to think intellectually what plane of me is attached to which kind of objects. Just let it come. It was important to start that way, but now we feel. And it will become the information in our mind as the subconscious revelations happen. I lost. What did I lose? I already lost it. There's no point in remaining attached to what is lost. What is it? What's the flavor? The deepest attachments will make you feel broken. If you feel broken, you got the good one. If you feel about to break but not yet, then you're just about to get the good one but still not. Deep fears dwell in the strongest attachments, hidden deep inside. With a deep mourning sense, there's a fear of falling into oblivion. If I admit it, if I admit to myself that I lost, if I let go, I will fall in oblivion. And I'm scared. If I admit that I lost, I will be lost. Yeah. Reach the point where you're broken. Non-dramatic, but lost. Every time you practice deep mourning, you'll reach this place of falling in emptiness. And it's a good thing. Because afterwards, after every mourning you do, you're still here, alive, breathing, existing just as you are. So whatever you allowed yourself to let go, it wasn't you. It's not you who felt lost. It's each potential itself. They know these potentials inside, that they are going to disappear forever. once completely integrated, they will be disintegrated. It is that fear of this potential that you feel and you associate to it, of course. It's part of your identity. You won't cease to exist. What you feel when you integrate and when you deeply mourn, that potential knows it's coming to an end. And you are experiencing its fear. You are experiencing its disappearance, its fall into oblivion. And it is you, so you have the impression it's you. It makes it so scary. I am going to disappear. But that voice is only the voice of a chain that ends. Let it happen. Have that courage to live through it. Be broken. It's not you who is broken. It's the chain that is broken. It is that block that is broken. Allow it. When you're done with any kind of mourning, you're still here. Whatever remains, that is truly what you are. You don't need your blocks and your chains to define yourself. You don't need those potentials, those attachments. You don't need them. But it is how you know life to be. And it is scary to embrace these fears that these potentials are facing. I, as an emotion, I'm going to go back to consciousness. I will disappear as myself. And the potential is integrated in consciousness, disintegrated as a separate object. Change is frightening. All these changes, these states of losing, these states of being lost, it is frightening, of course. Whatever remains when you're done, that is truly what you are. What did not disappear in the process, that's you. Right here, with one less chain pulling you, one less weight on your heart or in your guts or in your head, basically. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty much it. That's the secret. Go through the changing process. Go through that loss. Mourn. The first step, identify intellectually the possibilities. What kind of attachment? Physical, emotional, mental. To which type of object? Possession, relationship, identity. Then, drop out of the Cartesian system. What's the flavor? How does it feel? And you have to say it to yourself. I'm ready to taste something new. Something I might not have admitted to myself before. If the suffering continues, there has to be something that I'm missing. So I'm not just going to repeat the same old process. Little parenthesis here. Sometimes you get it good, but the potential is heavy, rich in all the energy you invested in it. And it will take time. So yeah, if you integrate 5 minutes, I still feel it, so I was wrong. Well, I mean, give yourself an hour or two sometimes. Some of these potentials are deep. It will take time. But if over weeks or months the integration doesn't work, there's a flavor that you're missing. And you'll have to ask your subconsciousness to reveal it. And find something new. For that to happen, you also cannot be so certain about yourself. Oh, I see perfectly what's going on with me. Well, maybe there's something else, right? Be available to the possibilities. Yeah, that was a nice class on the attachments. The goal of the class on the attachments is to get you to mourn, to finally lose what is not really you anyway. Whatever remains is your being, yourself. Can't lose that. It's impossible. I want to finish this class with a comment on the importance to be positive. Oh my God, I feel so broken. And then the master says, be positive. Okay. If the only practice you do is emotional integration, and if you do it constantly, you will feel a lot of liberation. I understand this is quite positive. But if you only do emotional integration, all you're going to see of yourself is shit. You're always going to be naming parts of you that you consider be the source of your suffering. I encourage you to do other kind of practice. Have entertainment in your life without exaggeration. Have positive thoughts about yourself. Do a practice that will make you feel gratitude or peaceful, soft joy. For doing practice where you feel yourself just as you are, without all this pejorative comments. In truth, there is nothing wrong with the ego. It's all part of evolution. It's okay. But even if you know that, you will tend to be negative about it while you do it, because it's about suffering. So you'll make this association that it is something bad of you. So be positive. Be satisfied of the evolution you do, instead of being disappointed. Oh, not another ego pattern. You know? Stop dramatizing about your personal growth. Just accept it. All right. What is the next one? What's the next step? That, okay, yeah, it does feel bad. Yeah, it does feel bad. Do you work? Then, good. I don't know if I've resolved it entirely. I can't know that. But the part I did. And I'm satisfied about myself. Be proud about your personal growth. It is a good thing. The more you progress, the more positive you're going to be anyway. The more you will be virtuous if you also study Rishinaya. The more kind and simple you will be as a person. It takes time. Could be years, could be decades. That's okay. The final stage of any integration, for that integration to be complete, should finish with proper mourning. You lost. You just admit it to yourself. And also feelings of gratitude to yourself. Thank you, real me, for that work you just done. Because I feel good about it. Be positive. It's important. That concludes our series of classes on emotional integration. If you are new to this, I recommend you seek guidance from a trained therapist in emotional integration. You can write an email to info@mahajriya.org. You can also check for the Hispanics. You can check the emotional integration classes by Shivagam. I think there's an English version coming soon also. And speak of other people who are highly trained in emotional integration. Some do it for free, most make a living out of it, so you have to pay. Get the training, or watch every video I have on YouTube and practice on your own. Yeah. Learn the tricks. Ultimately, you want to become fully autonomous as your own therapist. And be a devoted spiritual seeker by doing simple personal growth. Yeah. Real spirituality is not about, smoking a rose quartz. It's about personal growth, mostly. Discovering what hurts and doing your best to be a good person. Yeah, that's the best way to say it. All right, guys, that was cool. Thanks. Next week, Monday and Friday next week, there are no classes. I'm taking the week off from teaching. So I guess I'll see you in about 10 days, something like that. No, 7. Peace.